JosefVStalin, and welcome back to Stalin's Starcraft 2 Battle Report. And in this one, I've got another viewer report for you guys. I've cut off the first 6 minutes because it is a longer report, and I like to try and keep these things in a maximum of 2 parts. So anyway, right off the bat, as you guys are kind of getting into this battle, you can see that both the teal Protoss and the purple Zerg are moving out to attack. But before they attack, let's see if we can go over the teams real quick. We got Liberty on the blue side, commanding the blue Protoss, Nick as the red Protoss, and across the map we've got Active as the teal Protoss, and Zluio as the purple Zerg. Anyway, we can see this combined Protoss Zerg force coming in right off the bat. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is a viewer report. This isn't one of my own. And these guys are going to run into a blocked off Protoss base, and it looks like they're going to try and use simple brute force to smash their way into this base. They are not backing down. Photon cannon comes up. These stalkers are taking pot shots at them as they're trying to slice their way through, but that pylon goes down, and the Zerg and Protoss are in! They're in the base, slashing up those stalkers. 1 goes down, 2 goes down, 3 goes down. There goes that pylon. That photon cannon is down, and the stalker force is dead, despite putting up a valiant defense. The Protoss and the Zerg managed to break on through and start smashing up the place, taking out a ton of probes, doing terrible damage. Because, as we said before, sometimes just 2 terribles aren't enough. And he's resorted to using his probes to defend his base. And those probes are actually able to take out a stalker before they go down, which is pretty intense. But Red is finally getting on the ball here, bringing in some reinforcements. He's able to use those sentry force fields to trap and divvy up those zealots before they're able to get in and do some real damage, or more real damage, rather. So, if you can look at our resourcing tab, that didn't actually hurt purple or blue too much, considering he still has plenty of probes going on here. As you can see, he's got 24 as comparative to Teal, who's got 26, and the Zerg, who's only got 16. And I feel, as the Zerg being my favorite race, you know, from a personal standpoint, that the Zerg need to have a ton of resources and a ton of drones to be super effective, especially in the later game. And I don't know if I told you guys this, but I think that early expand in my own personal Stalinator build is essential for a Zerg player, or else they're not going to have enough larvae to be able to produce enough probes and SCVs in order to contend with the production capabilities, especially the Protoss. The Protoss are able to pump out a lot of probes really quickly, especially with this chrono boost. Probably, I think more and more it's essential for the Zerg player to get out those extra drones. So now that we've had kind of our first skirmish here, we can look at Teal's base. You see it's got 2 Stargates up here, so we might see a void ray push from him. The other side, we're seeing from the Zerg, we've got a Hydralisk den out, the layer is out, a couple Hydralisks out. So from him, might see massed Hydras. And on the other side, we've got 3 warp gates, robotics facility, so Colossus maybe, who knows, or Immortals. And looks like he's gonna go for a classic sort of combined arms Protoss force of zealots, stalkers, and of course sentries to create those force fields to stop people from, you know, getting in. And you know, you can contain and divvy up forces with those force fields. From the purple, or not the purple, the blue, we seem to have a little bit of a scattered kind of build here. Not very well organized, but Stargate and robotics facility as well, so he could go either way at this point, depending on what he's deciding he's gonna focus on. We don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. And again, I don't know what's going on in this one. I haven't watched it yet. So this is Rolling Thunder. I don't know who's gonna win. And on a side note, we got a changeling going out across the field, but Red spots that changeling and shoots him down pretty quick. And quick note on changelings, I've always wanted to try and use them, but I get swept up in doing other things that I always just seem to forget to use changelings. But what happens is, an overseer will spawn a changeling like that, and then he'll morph into either a marine or a zealot or, you know, another zergling, and then they'll just put themselves in their enemy's base and get you intel and show you what's going on and what's going down. So if your opponent is unobservant, you can gain a lot of insight into what he's doing. Just layout. Wonder if I can make it explode from the No, I can't make it explode from watching just her replay. So, blue is getting back in the game at this point. Expanded and harvesting. And it looks like the Zerg player is falling behind significantly. He's definitely going to need to expand if he wants to keep up with these other players. The other players, almost all the other players outnumber him in resources, you know, almost 2 to 1. So, probably not good news for him. And it looks like purple wants some, actually, why do I keep mixing up purple and blue? Blue wants some revenge for that attack that he took early on in the game. Looks like he might be moving out across the field, as well as we got some stalkers and zealots moving out across the field as well from red. And blue is gonna commit a couple stalkers of his own, and as well as his Void Ray squadron to this upcoming battle. And these guys are gonna bypass the main base defenses and go right around and destroy those rocks and come right up through the back and start wreaking havoc. So now they're in the base. These guys are in the base, completely undefended, taking out those probes. But Teal's just got a huge Void Ray fleet here, and they just melt. They just melt Blue's Void Rays into nothing. And now those Void Rays are going to start turning their lasers on the stalkers. And as soon as, there you go, now those lasers are turning to high powered, they're just going to destroy those stalkers without a second's glance. And Nick is trying to gather up what remains of his battered and bruised forces and trying to return home. The Zerg player also comes in with his forces, but you know, he's about a minute too late there to participate in the battle. So the battered, bruised, and scarred remains of those troops returns home to reform, regroup, and get ready for another attack. But seeing that they've got the advantage, looks like now Teal and Purple are going to use that and go strike at, I believe they're going to restrike at Blue's base. Who knows? But, you know, that's what it definitely looks like. Yep. Going after Blue. And those Void Rays are going to melt down whatever forces he has. Now those, like I said, those lasers are now high-powered. They are a threat. They are just going to destroy everything. Now he's going to go to town. His probes, he's not moving those probes at all. He's just letting them be slaughtered. And it's a massacre. I don't know what happened to that Zerg force. I can't see it anymore. Must have gotten killed by these red dudes while I was busy watching them destroy the base. But it looks like Red's going to try and counterattack, but going toe-to-toe with those photon cannons is not a good idea. Those photon cannons are doing a lot of damage. Fine, they're doing terrible damage to his forces. And Teal's got some stalkers out there, and they're going to come in and just wipe out mop up what's ever left. Blue is going to make his last stand against this Void Ray fleet. Not going to do anything. There, just wiped off the map. And it looks like it's kind of game over for Blue at this point. Oh, Zerg player has gotten a couple Hydralisks in the game. Only, you know, hours too late in Starcraft. And Blue has essentially got nothing. Look, he's got a couple pylons left. He's got one probe with no money. So he couldn't do anything if he wanted to. Well, I guess Red could give him money, and then he could strike again. Right now, those Hydras are going to go on a suicide charge into the enemy's base. And they're just going to get melted. The lone probe that Blue has left is going to go searching for a new base. He's going to run straight into a Zerg base. And a Void Ray fleet is going to fly overhead. But they're going to miss him. Oh, we got more Hydralisks coming out from the Zerg player. And at this point, those Stalkers and those Void Rays are going to fight each other in decisive encounter. We don't know. Oh, it looks like the Blue lost that probe. He came into contact with those Hydralisks. Some of those Void Rays are switching to their high-powered lasers, and that's the only thing that's going to turn this battle around for them. But it doesn't look like they're going to be able to survive, and that fleet goes down. Oh, here comes the Hydralisk again, late to the battle. Now, while Hydralisks can be effective against Stalkers in equal numbers, those Hydralisks are definitely outnumbered, and they're gonna die quickly. And they can be effective mainly because they're light units. Stalkers are more effective against armored units, and they do more damage. Then they'll do more damage, Hydralisks to Stalkers, and they'll also attack twice as fast. The only thing a Stalker has that's advantageous to Hydralisk is they have more hit points. And if you upgrade Hydralisk range, then their range is also equal to Stalkers. So, pretty much provided you don't run into Colossi, massed Hydralisks are going to do terrible damage. So now, at this point, it's pretty much 2 versus 1. Although, I don't think this Zerg player knows exactly what he's doing. But nonetheless, 2 versus 1 at this point. However, Red's got a pretty sizable force here. He's also placing down a ton of photon cannons. Now these two guys are going to go toe-to-toe yet again. Looks like Red's got the numerical superiority at this point. And those Hydralisks were a nice distraction for those Void Rays. And unless those Void Rays are able to get it again, switch to those high-powered lasers, they're going to die. And it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do any significant damage in time. They just lost both their armies yet again. Now it's back to square one for the purple and the teal.